Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you've had a good weekend. I want to start up my video by saying I'm thinking about the folks in Japan. I have some friends over there. Haven't heard from them yet. I'm just praying that they're okay. I know they're in the southern part of Japan, but again, the entire island has been affected. And had the opportunity of working in Japan in the 90s, and it's an amazing, wonderful country. So my thoughts and prayers and energy go out to the people of Japan. This morning, what I thought I'd do is just share what I pulled out and been listening to this weekend. I very much enjoy when I have a chance to just sit down with friends or a friend or alone and just dig into the collection because, um, as I imagine is true with many of folks, we'll buy things and we won't have time to really listen to them, and the whole intent is to listen. Um, so I had Jeff and his cousin Dave over for a while this weekend, and they kind of get us getting into some oldies and stuff. And so I pulled out some old stuff and started listening to "Still" by Pete Sinfield, the guy who wrote the lyrics for King Crimson. As you know, I just recently posted on King Crimson, and whenever I'd listened to this album in the past, I'd get to a certain point and just really kind of say, "God, why did he do that? That sucks," And I got through the whole album this time, and I get it now, and it's pretty cool. It has some delicate points. He doesn't sing very well, and that's what kind of put me off. But the music is very good. For some reason, decided to pull this out. Bruce Ditmus is a drummer. This is an album of his, Yellow, where he combines drumming and electronics. Also, Joan LaBarbera, who I had mentioned recently in my favorite female artists, she's on here as well. This is pretty quirky. Apparently hard to find. I can't remember where I found mine. Pulled this out, Steamhammer, kind of a bluesy English band. As I've mentioned, I'm not much of a blues listener. I'm a lover of the Brain label, and so recently joining the vinyl community and talking so much about music has really allowed me to open my mind even further. I always want to believe I'm an open-minded person. And so I've been going back and listening to things with new ears, because I never want to close the door. And I enjoyed this. It's still, I was listening to it and the bluesiness of it, and the bluesy aspect of it's the least enjoyable part of it, but the musicianship is pretty cool. This is something I bought a while back in Chicago. Le Petit, how do you say this? Le Petit Prince. I found it in a shop in Chicago, and I bought it because of the textured cover. Isn't that cool? It's like something kind of corrugated, and and it's a real neat texture. Yeah, um, I pulled it out again because I don't really like this. It's some kind of house techno-y kind of dance music with sounds like a woman with a big chest singing. Um, and I still, after last night, thought, well, this cover, why did they give it such a cool cover? Because I think it sucks, but I love the cover. We were talking about old stuff, and so I pulled out some old, just psychedelia or pop psych from the late '60s, early '70s. Chrome Circus is one I've had forever, and there is definitely a cheesiness to this record. Look at those guys. It's like, how unhip can you look? I mean, these guys could play. Somebody gave them that, hey guys, make a cool psych album. This is not very psychedelic at all. Um, it's actually good though. The side two is one long suite, and the guys can play, and I guess that's what saves it. They can really play. They're good musicians. Pull this out because I still can't find anything about this band. They're from England, Ganzheit, but they sound German. It's that, like the title, Hammer. It's that hammering kind of jittery kind of electronic stuff that was going on in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. Frontline Assembly, Meat Beat Manifesto, but these guys really stand out. They didn't make very many records, but it's a very, very, God, it's really strong. Going back to the past, I was looking at, I think it's Riggs, but it was another cat who's got a bunch of psychedelia, a fantastic psychedelic collection. I was watching his videos online, and he had showed this, and I just happened to come across it, so I pulled it out. They had the big hits, Dirty Water, but other than the covers, there's a couple other pretty cool songs in here that I'd never heard before. That was fun to play. The Alan Bound, English band that had horns, probably was R&B to start with, crossed over into psych when that started to happen. And this is damn good. This is real good. I inherited this from my friend Paul, and therefore the cat scratch damage at the top. This is a great album. Reissue of CAC. Apparently these guys were also in the Peanut Butter Conspiracy. Went ahead and listened to this all the way through because I had never listened to the whole record. And it's mostly psych, but it has some of that nice quiet country flavor that you would get from the West Coast. Quicksilver and Crosby, Stills and Nash come to mind. I've always loved this cover, and it really fits. It's very fitting of the record. This was a good listen. Was kind of on a psych kick, so I pulled this out trying to remember how good it was. And what's interesting is this band was obviously a soul band, a white soul band that kind of reinvented itself to fit in with the emerging psychedelia movement in the late 60s. So this is really good, but it's more like the Kingsmen or something like that, rather than really being psych. Here's a record I bought because I liked the cover and the label Lizard, which I knew was a subsidiary of Ampex. You don't see records too much. Frantic is the name of the band. And when I bought it, I was excited because it's a white label promo. I love promos, but it's a very uneven album. And I'm pretty honest about rating things. This just has maybe 2 good songs and then a lot of stuff I consider like filler. It's like, guys, you got the album cover right, but you didn't choose very well material wise. Definitely glad to have it in my collection, and I have things like that in my collection where I'll take a chance. Here's something where I remember from my childhood I thought, God, what a shitty cover. And a few years ago, I came across a copy of it for $1, and this record is just awful. It's a studio thing where they're trying to like, oh, maybe the kids will dig this. If you think the cover is bad, the music sounds just like the cover. It's just really awful. But something, I'm keeping this, baby. Those things are curios to me. I love stuff like that as far as oddities. I think Glowing Cabbage had posted a thread about odd records. Well, I've got records like that where I keep them because of just that odd factor. But on the other hand, here's something really good. Fever Tree from San Francisco. I think they have 3 or 4 albums out. I've got 2 of them, and each one is just awesome. Don't really understand why they didn't become a name like Love and Santana. These guys are fantastic. Fever Tree. I turned Jeff onto this band, and it blew his mind because, again, Womb, another San Francisco band. I played the second track on here, Flash. It's an undiscovered classic. It is so creative and so far ahead of its time. Even now in 2011, you put this song on, it'll stop you because it's like, what's about to happen? It's like it doesn't sound like the 70s. And that song Flash is the unique song on the album. The album's good, but Flash is a masterpiece of a song. It's like, where did they get this idea? It's got jazz, it's got avant-garde, it's got even ambience. Back in the 70s, it had ambience. Pull this out. This is an album I've had since I was 14 or 15 years old, Ars Nova. And the way that you can tell is it's from my childhood. This is back when I was a kid. When I'd get bored or for whatever reason, I'd just put my name on the record. I'd write it again. And then I'd write my name again. And I don't know why I did that. I was a nutty-ass kid, But they had an album on Elektra, which you see more often than this one. But this one is really, really good. And just right quick, the trumpet player, Jimmy, Jimmy. Anyway, he's a jazz player, and then Sam Brown, the guitar player on here. He also went on and did some things. I know I have him on Paul Motion album on ECM. Real good players, really good songwriting. Again, an Undiscovered. Great album. I won't say classic, great album, but I will say that this is a great Undiscovered psychedelic monster, Mr. Flood's Party. Now, I've also had this album for maybe 35 years. Got it as a cutout and recognized right away how good it was and was perplexed. I've never heard anything about it. And I played this for Jeff the other night. It's a Long Island band. He kept saying England. They sound like the Beatles. They sound so British. Some folks have picked up on Benny Maupin as a result of my recommendation. I'm glad you folks were happy. I can undoubtedly tell you again that for lovers of psych and undiscovered classics of the early 70s, if you can find this album, it will blow your mind. Song after song after song. This is excellent. Excellent. And played the whole thing this weekend and played it for Jeff, and then I played it again yesterday because it's so good. Nathan Morales is another vinyl collector who posts, and he recently found a copy of Pato. I'm just mentioning that because Mike Pato, the singer of that band, was in this band, Boxer. And I pulled this out thinking about that, just wanting to hear Mike Pato's voice. Side one of this is pretty good. Side two, it kind of drops off, but side one of this is pretty good. There's a bluesy element to it, but it also rocks pretty hard too. Tim Bogert on bass from Beck Bogert and Appice and Vanilla Fudge is on here as well. It's really kind of a minor supergroup. Chris Stainton on keyboards as well. Adrian Fisher on guitar. This was a good listen. Pull this out. This is an English band who put out this album, World's End, on Dunhill in America. This is, again, one of those records like, as I've said, and I really hope I've not offended anyone by my comments, but I do really feel like, there's just all this music that's undiscovered or underappreciated or just not, it got glossed over by the critics, and so people just don't know. And so I kind of feel like slightly am I on a mission to try to encourage people to go back and discover all this music that for some reason you didn't know about. That's what I'm trying to do, and this is one of those bands, and Dwella's World's End. This is another one of those records like the Zombies, where there's orchestration and it's very ambitious and it's very, very good. There's just so many of these records, and it's part of what I love about collecting so much is just finding those gems. Here's another one that I found a few years ago. I still know nothing about this band, Ivory. It's on Bill Cosby's label, Tetragrammaton, the label that brought us the original Deep Purple and people like Biff Rose. This is Dynamite. I've Googled this band, still can't find anything out about him. The main guy's name kept catching my, it's like, don't I know that name? Mike McCauley, but I found nothing. They sound like Jefferson Airplane, and then they sound like themselves. Awesome record. Awesome, awesome record. A couple more things. I'm not sure why I pulled this out. This is not psych, but catharsis. This is more like industrial, kind of negative, kind of grungy electronics. I just pulled it out and started playing it. I'll have to come back to it because this kind of music, I have to be in the right mood to really get into it, because there's a negative vibe to it. It's like purging. Suspension of Belief is the name of this album. But that's one of the things I notice about negative dark music is it seems like it's music to purge by. I recently bought this. I've been trying to find a good copy of it, and I haven't. I haven't wanted to buy one on eBay because I didn't want it that much. But another San Francisco or West Coast Bay Area band. A lot of blues influence, but also there's that touch of psychedelia here. I've always liked the cover, and I always wanted it because it's on the Fillmore label. I like the Fillmore label. there's been talk of labels, and I've always dug labels, especially as a child. It's like, ooh, look at that label. But the is pretty good. Last thing I'll show is the clowns. I just recently picked this up for like $3, and a note about this band is that Barry Bostwick, the actor, was in this band. Seems like this was kind of a put together concept record. Sunshine pop, but fairly safe sounding. But look at the image of the band. This is 1971. These guys beat Kiss to it. That was a pleasant listen. I also discovered my problem with the slow uploads, and so I fixed that. So I'll probably be doing another video shortly, and I hope no one minds. Have a good day.